Not quite. Almost.
No. We are now, though.
We ready?
We're ready.
Oh, she's getting all excited. I guess we're gonna call the meeting to order with a pledge.
It says it.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't want people's conversations that were out there.
Are you ready, Mike?
I'm ready whenever you
You want to do roll call then?
Sure. Schrader,
Yeah.
Bowman, absent.
Absent.
Tomat, Schaller,
Here.
Considine, I'm present.
Okay. Open meeting compliance.
The agenda was posted on February 26th on the Town of Fort Winnebago internet calendar, as well as at Northside Auto Repair, and the meeting notice was sent via email to the Portage Daily Register.
Okay. On the agenda, I think we're gonna make a little change. We're gonna move the Portage School referendum presentation right after the treasurer's report, before citizen input. So I make a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion that we move the Portage School referendum presentation right after the approval of the treasurer.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Oh, I thought I was making the motion.
Oh, okay.
I'll second
it. How's that? One of us made it, one of us seconded.
Thanks for the cooperation.
Guaranteed it's done.
It's done. Can't argue about it anyway. When you get done typing that.
Go ahead.
We'll move on to the minutes from our February meeting. Kind of short and sweet.
Pretty quiet month last
Yeah,
month.
pretty quiet.
I make a motion that we accept them as written.
I'll second that motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Moving on to the treasurer's report.
All right, so incoming this month, we had interest, of course, was higher than normal just because we did have all that tax money in there. So our interest rate was at 3.5%, up from the standard because of the large balances that we had. Otherwise, we did have a couple corrections on check payments from taxes. We did have one NSF fee that was reimbursed on a tax payment. We did receive the annual tax payment for the annex property that we'll get here for a couple more years from the city. A couple fire numbers. We did receive the payment in lieu of taxes payment, which also went back out on last month's bills. One more aged fire bill from that Vanessa for another $23.88. So slowly but surely it will get paid, I think. Otherwise, we had the tax collection batches finishing up the end of the month going in. Outside of that, January was interest in the LGIP. I'm sorry, February. Bills that were paid were the ones that were approved and completed at last month's meeting. And the budget-wise, everything's pretty well said and done with the incoming and outgoing for taxes, of course, with the exception of what we'll get in the August settlement. So the numbers are pretty close there. Fire bills, I did notice that because of the Diamond property, we did receive that payment. So we are going to have more incoming and outgoing in fire than what we do for our estimated budget. So those numbers will be thrown off a little bit just because we're already pretty close to what we put in the budget for the whole year because of when you have a big one like that, it kind of throws everything off. So, but other than that, everything's good.
I'll make a motion that we accept them as written.
Okay, I'll second that motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. So I guess we're
going in front of the citizen input?
Yeah, I thought.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got it.
Right after treasurers.
Thanks, Mark. Try not to take all the other stuff out here.
Blair Ridge. I think that's the most ever.
Oh.
He's got it.
But I had a problem with this earlier.
I'm not here to talk about the Diaz family.
And I guess, you probably know, but you are streaming live, so.
That's great.
He does that all the time.
There we go. Everybody can see that. Good evening, everybody. My name is Josh Sween. I'm the superintendent of schools in the Portage Community School District, and I'm just here tonight to share some information about the upcoming operational referendum, which is going to be on the ballot for the April 7th election. We see this as investing in the future of our students. I'm going to talk a little bit about why we see that and what we're looking at. But I wanted to ground you a little bit in the Portage Community School District. Our mission statement is that the Portage Community School District is committed to the growth of all students, families, and community. Our vision is we want the Portage Community School District to be a premier learning environment where we have built authentic relationships with students and families. Our kids are globally minded, resilient, and realistically, we want them, when they leave our high schools, that they're ready to go on to college, they're ready to go into the military, they're ready to go on to a career, but they're ready for whatever life throws at them after they leave high school. Tonight, what I'm going to be talking about, just a quick overview, is a timeline, right? So right now, we're in the middle of a push to try and get out to everybody that we possibly can to share as much information and allow people to ask questions. The last thing that we want is for people to get to April 7th, show up to their polling station, pull out the ballot and say, I didn't know the Portage Community School District had a referendum on this thing. We want to make sure people know about it and have an opportunity to see what we're talking about and ask any questions that they might have. We talk about the commitment, and this is a commitment that the communities have made to the Portage Community School District for the past 25, 30 years. We've been doing operational referendums, but more importantly, it's the commitment that the Portage Community School District has made to the communities that support us, right? And a couple of years ago, I was here and I talked to a group, and many of you were probably here, about the capital referendum that was passed in November of 24. And at that time, we said, we know that this is going to be a tax impact. But we also know that we're going to have to come back for an operational referendum the next year. And of the two types of referendum, capital and operational, the operational is the most important to us. And so we had asked people at that time, if you're going to vote yes on the capital, we hope that you would also vote yes on the operational. But we also made a commitment to the community and said, we're not going to raise your taxes with the operational. We're going to stay status quo. It's just a continuation of the current operational referendum that we have on the books. And it is not going to increase your taxes at all. We'll talk a little bit more about that. What we're asking for is the availability to use up to $3.7 million a year for the next 3 years under this operational referendum. And again, this is the exact same operational dollar amount that we're under right now. Back in 2021, we passed an operational referendum. At that time, it was a 5-year, non-recurring operational referendum for the same dollar amount. This time, we're asking for a 3-year operational referendum, non-recurring, $3.7 million a year. Same exact thing that we're under right now. So it does not increase the taxes. It's just a continuation of the current operational referendum that we use. Historically, like I said, we've been passing operational referendums in the Portage Community School District since the 2003-2004 school year. And the communities around us and Portage proper have really supported the schools and passed every single one of them. Just a brief kind of educational piece here about where we get our revenue for school districts. In the school funding formula, you may know a little bit about it, you may not know anything about it, but it's a little convoluted. So I just want to do a little bit of a historical aspect of what and how we get revenue from the school district. So we get our total revenue from two specific places. It's about a 50-50 split, but first part of it comes from state aid, and that's allocated by the state government. And then the second part is property taxes. And so whatever we don't get in state aid is what we can allocate in property taxes to the people in our communities within the Portage Community School District. However, we also have a revenue limit that we cannot go over. And so what we actually take in and what we can actually we're allowed to do as far as property taxes, you take that limit that we have set minus the state aid that the government gives school districts, and that's how much we can legally tax property owners, okay? In 1993, there was a change. Prior to 1993, there was no limit. School districts could actually set their tax levy whatever they wanted it to be, right? Districts would look at their budget and say, this is what we need to operate, this is what we're gonna tax the community. There was really the only pushback on that was if the community said, that's too much, and got upset about it, but realistically, schools could do whatever they want. In 93, 94, there was a limit established, and it was based on the current tax limit that every school district was under. And so wherever you were, that's where you got locked in at. In some school districts, like the Portage Community School District and many others, we were not taxing very much. We were being very frugal. We were helping our citizens out. And so we were locked in at a very low level. There were other school districts that were taxing at a much higher rate, and they were locked in at a higher rate. And nothing has really been done to close the gap between those schools that were locked in at a higher rate and those who were locked in at a lower rate. What they said at the time was the legislative solution was go to operational referendum school districts if you need additional funding or if you want to have more programs and services for your kids. So that was the legislative solution, and that's what school districts have been using since. You've probably noticed, though, over the last couple of years, pretty much every school district in the state, 90% plus, are now going to operational referendums. And we'll talk why that is in just a second. But the plan wasn't terrible. The revenue limit piece wasn't a bad thing. From 1993 to 2009, state aid increases were tied to inflation. So inflationary increases actually told us exactly what we could expect each year in state aid. And that also allowed school districts to plan accordingly and know how we were going to budget. With the recession in 2008, they decoupled inflationary increases from state aid. And they said, now just the legislature and the state biennium, now we control how much state aid schools are going to get and whether or not it's going to increase or not. In 2023, 2025, so not the current state biennium budget that we're under, but the past one, they actually did a really great thing. They actually took the low revenue limit and they increased it by $1,000. And they didn't do anything to the top, so it actually decreased the gap for the first time in a long time. We were hoping that the same thing was going to happen in the current biennium. What happened, though, is that there was no state aid given at all. There was a $0 increase in state aid for schools across the board. The only thing that we did get, though, is this $325 increase per student, and that's, you probably heard the 400-year line item veto that Governor Evers put on the book, and there's a lot of fighting back and forth about what should we have that, should we not have that. What I will say is it's not bad. It's great that we have a $325 a year increase. That does not keep up with inflation, and it's not state aid increase. That $325 comes from property tax holders. So that's the $325 only comes from property tax holders, not from the state. What this all resulted in is that you have one school district across the state of Wisconsin, it's actually in Door County, School District of Gibraltar. They get more than $25,000 per student under the state aid formula. There are 24 school districts that get more than $15,000 per student. And then there's 172 school districts, Portage being one of them, that gets less than $12,000 per student. So when I talk about equitable, state aid formula, that's what I mean. Is there are winners and there are definitely losers in how the state aid formula works right now. So why do we need a referendum? So I shared this slide with you because I want to show you, had the state legislature kept state aid increases tied to inflation, this green line right here is where we would have been from 2009 to the current year, to the end of this biennium. The black line below that is the actual state aid funding increases over that same time period. And you can see this huge gap between where state funding would have been versus where it is now. It's about $3,537 per student. So you just do some quick, simple math. Portage has about 2,000 kids in our school district. And so if you do that, 3,573 times 2,000, that's $7.14 million that could be allocated in state aid funding had inflationary increases kept up with that. They did not. And I say that because we're only asking for $3.7 million a year, right? And so we may not even need referendums had state aid increases been tied to inflation this entire time. I really like to show this slide, and so most of you probably know Pete Hibner, my assistant superintendent, business manager. He loves this slide a lot too. But this kind of shows from back in 2003, 2004, when we started doing operational referendums to today, this is how much money that the community has given us or allowed us to tax. And it's almost $60 million over that entire time frame. But I show you this slide because you can see the areas, this is how much money we were allocated. Everything that's in black, that is money that we could have taxed and spent, but we chose not to because we didn't need it in order to do the same programs and services that we wanted to have available to everybody. And Pete always likes to tell the story that when he first went out and they told people, hey, this is what we're asking for. If we don't need it, we're not going to spend it. And people said, yeah, right. What government organization is ever going to not spend tax dollars that they get? And so we like to show this because this is us being fiscally responsible, saying we didn't need that money, so we did not tax the people, right? People also say, well, can't you tap into this almost $11 million that you left on the table? No. Once you don't use it, you can't come back to it. The other piece is Portage has always done non-recurring referendums. You may see in other school districts they do recurring. And what that means is if you pass it, it's on the books for perpetuity, forever, right? It just never comes off of there, and people forget that it's even there. We've always done non-recurring because we feel like it's important for us to come back to the community and say, here's what we've done with the money, and here's what we're asking to do with it now. Okay, every 5 years to 3 years, however long that operational referendum goes for. So I like to show this slide because it does show, people ask the question all the time, you gotta tighten your belts. You guys are spending too much money. And I like to show people this because if you look on the left-hand side, that's the student revenue limits from the last 10 years. So back in 2015-16, we got a little over $9,000 per student. Over the last 10 years, we've now come to $11,650 per student. And that average increase is 2.9% average increase per year. The rate of inflation over that same time period was 3.34%. And so we're way lower than the rate of inflation. When you think about operational tax levy, you guys you're taxing too much. Our taxes are too high. And you know what? They are. We're all dealing with tax issues, right? But I show you this because over the last 10 years, our tax increases for school purposes have only gone up on average 2.04% a year. And again, an inflationary increase would have been 3.34. So we are not taxing even to the level of inflation. And then when people say, well, you got to spend less money. You shouldn't spend as much money, tighten your belts. So what I'll show you again is over that 10-year period, our average increase per year was 2.66%. So below inflationary increases. So by whatever measure you look at, Portage Community School District has been trying to be good stewards of tax money and keep the taxes low on the community. So the question comes up then, is $3.7 million a year enough? And the easy answer to that is no, it is not, right? But we believe that this is our best chance to actually pass an operational referendum. I don't think there's any scenario where we could raise taxes on any people in our community and they would say, yes, I'll sign up for that. It's just not something that is a winner for us. But I will show you that even this year, our expenditures were $33.5 million. The revenues we took in were $32.3 million. And so we had a deficit this year as well. But the state budget didn't come out until July. And we had already set our staffing and done all those things. And so you can't just say, well, now we're going to cut our budget and we're going to reduce staff a week or two before the school year starts. You just can't do that. So what we did this year is we used some of our fund balance to offset that debt and make sure that we could balance our budget, okay? So no, $3.7 million a year is not enough. But again, we're trying to be committed to the community and say, we're not going to raise your taxes. So how are we going to balance the budget over the next 3 years, knowing that $3.7 million is not enough? We're hoping, and we're counting on the communities coming back to support us and passing this $3.7 million operational referendum. But we know we're still going to need to make some cuts. reductions to our budget. And that's the part where we say to the community, it's not all on you. We're gonna tighten our belts too, and we're gonna reduce some. You may have seen the article in the paper from last week, but we've already a couple weeks ago reduced our staffing by 11 staff members in the school district for next year already, knowing that we're gonna have to make some reductions in our own budget, as well as pass an operational referendum. But even that's not quite enough. We also then would use some of our fund balance to offset that cost. So it's really this three-pronged approach that we talk about, where we want to pass the referendum, we will make budget cuts to tighten our belts, and then we're going to use some of our reserves that we have. The issue is, if we don't pass the referendum, the cuts that we have to make in the school district are going to be much, much more severe. So looking at this bottom line here, if the referendum fails, we need to cut $5.2 to $6.1 million of our budget, like that. If we pass the referendum, then we need to make $1.6 to $2.5 million worth of reductions, which we've already done. We got that set up and ready to go. Now, if it doesn't pass, we got to find those other couple of $1 million in cuts somehow. Okay. I just show you this about it. We do have reserves. We have savings. We've been fiscally responsible over the years. We've built up our savings to make sure that we can take care of what we need to do, but we can't use all of it. I'll talk about that in a second. But our fund balance also helps us build equity within the school district. We do have to maintain a healthy amount. And actually what they say is you should keep about 20% to 22% of your total budget in reserves. We're about 32% right now. So we actually have a pretty healthy fund balance. So we know we can use some of it to help us offset this, but it's not a long-term solution. I show you this graph because what you look at, this blue line really is our expenditures throughout the year, which stay pretty even month to month. The orange line is when we take in our revenues, and we only take in revenues 3 times a year when taxes come to us or state aid, right? And so the reason we maintain a healthy fund balance is we have to make monthly payments. And if we don't have enough money to cover those, then we have to short-term borrow, and that's not good for the school district either. But also it helps us with our credit rating. So the money that we got from the capital referendum, we've invested in, we've gotten a great credit rating, which means that we are going to be able to pay off that loan faster. It's reduced our costs overall. So keeping that fund balance is really important for the school district. But we can use some of it. So can we use it? Yes. However, like I said, it's not a long-term solution. It's something we can do in the short term to help us balance the budget. And we are going to probably use between $2 and $4 million of our fund balance over the next 3 years to help us balance the budget. This just shows district tax rate comparisons. So you can see Portage here, kind of middle of the pack as of right now, $7.42 on the mill rate. And that's the mill rate is how much money per $1,000 of property value that you have. So prior to the capital referendum that we passed in November of 24, Portage would have been up here. We're typically one of the lowest taxing school districts around, but we also didn't have any debt for like 15 years until we passed that capital referendum, which bumped us in that first year to $8.05. And even from $8.05 in that first year paying off that loan, now we've actually dropped the mill rate again to $7.42. So even with paying 2 years on the debt, we've decreased the amount of taxes we're putting on the community. This I like to show because one of the things that we do is we're very conservative when it comes to our budgeting. And we do that because nobody wants to be surprised when their taxes go up, right? But people are pleasantly surprised when their taxes go down. So we're very conservative with our numbers when we build our budgets. And so I show you this slide on the left because what you'll see is our actual, at the current operational referendum that's ending this year, the actual mill rate at that time was $8.48 per 1,000. We estimated that we were actually going to increase tax by an average of 6 cents over those 5 years. But in actuality, what happened is we actually decreased taxes. And even with these last 2 years of paying off on the debt for the capital referendum, we've continued to decrease to the point where over the last 5 years in the operational, we've actually decreased the mill rate by 21 cents over that 5-year period. Fast forward to this referendum, what we're looking at right now, we're currently at 742. We, again, being very conservative with our budgeting numbers, we actually anticipating not just staying flat, but we actually are going to decrease taxes by 31 cents over the next 3 years. And those are very conservative numbers. It could be more. But that's why we can confidently say there will be zero increase to your taxes with this operational referendum. So impact on property taxes, like I said, so no impact if the community passes the referendum. The taxes won't go up as a result of this for school purposes. However, we got to be honest with people. If the referendum were to fail, yes, your taxes will go down. They will. I'm not saying that they won't. Because, and we know, like I said, property taxes are high. People are struggling with that right now. But we anticipate it'll be about $1.50 for every $1,000 of property value is what your taxes would go down. So if you own a $200,000 home, that's about $300 a year, $25 a month. It's probably less than that actually. And that's not chump change. Don't get me wrong. That's $300 a year it's a large amount of money. The issue that we have with that though is that if the referendum fails, there's going to be a very dramatic impact to the school district. And what I would say is not just dramatic, but it would probably be catastrophic for us to have to try and cut $6 million from our budget. Okay. So this is the part where I get to talk about what is it, what would be the impact on the school district if the referendum were to fail or if the referendum passes. So if it does not pass, there's going to be a direct effect on our teaching staff. And realistically, where that comes into play, it's going to be class sizes. And so if we pass the referendum, we will be able to stay pretty much status quo, about the same number of students per teacher that we have right now. If it doesn't pass, we're talking about class sizes that are going to be 28 to 30 plus, right? And so when I give these presentations, I talk to school teachers. They're like, well, at the middle school and the high school, we already have 28 to 30 kids in a class. And that's true in many classes. But when we're talking 28 to 30, we're talking elementary classes here. And we try and keep our kindergarten classes to between 19 and 22 students. And then we get to kindergarten, first, second grade. That's where we try and be third, fourth, fifth. We try and get into that 24, 25 per classroom. And in middle school and high school, we get up into the 28, 29. But we're talking kindergarten, first grade, second grade classes of 28 to 30 kids in it. And that's just not a good recipe for learning. Passing the referendum will help us keep and retain good staff, right? One of the things that we really need to do is a competitive market, so we really try and bring in the best of the best, and being able to provide raises and be able to tell staff that we have the operational money to afford what you're doing is a really good thing for us. So we can offer competitive wages to attract top talent, but we can also retain the amazing teachers we have that know our kids and know our families. Also, we want to be able to provide them with the resources that they need and ability to get better with professional development. It also allows us to protect the investment that the community has made, right? So in our facilities, we just passed a $53 million referendum in November of 24, and we're fixing up the middle school. We had some additions onto the high school. We need to protect those investments. And so, yes, capital referendum gives you, you can do these major renovations and things like that, but every time we have to do routine HVAC maintenance or plumbing and electrical repairs, cleaning supplies, all of those things, those are operational pieces that we need to be able to afford to do. If the referendum fails, so this is kind of a quick little laundry list of what we do. It's not exhaustive of everything, and it's also not in order. But if the referendum were to fail, again, we talked about increased class sizes. There will be a reduction in elective courses like your arts, music, career, technical education, agriculture. And I'll be honest with you, those are the things that the Portage Community School District hangs our hat on. Those are the amazing programs that we have. We would be ashamed to have to cut any of those or reduce them, right? We'd also look at reduction in staffing at all levels, including administrators. People always say, well, when are the administrators going to cut? Honestly, we're going to reduce our administrative staff by 2 people next year. And that is coming. But when we talk about staffing, it's at every level: administrative, teaching, hourly, you name it. There's not a department that is not going to be touched by the cuts that we're going to have to make if the referendum were to fail. We'd also talk about fewer extracurricular and athletic opportunities. One of the things that, middle school sports, maybe that's something that we don't have in the school district anymore. But those are the things that we also have to look at, as well as delayed maintenance, which could potentially lead to higher costs down the road. And that's something we definitely don't need. So the last thing I'll say in summary is that passing the referendum we see as a great investment in our students and the future future of all the students in the Portage Community School District, but not just the students. It really is an investment in the Portage community and the surrounding communities as well, because strong schools mean strong communities. The district has always been fiscally responsible, and that's not going to change. We're going to use a three-pronged approach, right? The district will use that $3.7 million, plus we will use some of our fund balance. We will also tighten our belts and cut our budget appropriately. And with that, I'll just say, please get out and vote on April 7th. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Right, there's a few here. You had on there that there was 10 million. What happened to that money that wasn't used?
You're talking about
Was that-
This
Yeah,
one?
Yeah.
So this is money that just, we were authorized to use. It never materialized because we just didn't tax for that. And so we can't go back and reuse that because it was just, we left that on the table. So you can
you're
see like in
saying
the,
Property taxes did not go up based on, there was still 10 million left?
Oh, the mayor might keep from the newest school building up there, small business owner in town. So basically what you're seeing there everywhere in the black, that number at the very top was what they were authorized to tax.
So that's.
And we
what I'm
did,
saying.
so we left
You
it on.
actually taxed us on the 10 million.
yeah.
Correct. That was savings that could have been taxed. They elected not to because taxes were already high.
Which kept your tax rate, the mill rate lower in that year because we didn't tax on what we could.
The other question is, how much fund balance do you actually have right now?
So we're at 32%, so it's like $12 million.
And I don't even know if this is possible, but has the school ever thought about doing fundraisers or GoFundMe's or anything like that to help offset to the property owners?
Yeah, I mean, we do that for all of our programs and projects. I mean, the kids are fundraising constantly for all the peripheral things that we do. I just don't know if we're gonna be able to do millions of dollars in a GoFundMe in order to offset operational. So we haven't done that. We also reserve the right for all of our other organizations to do a lot of the fundraising.
So you haven't, or?
We don't.
Considering the school in general?
No, we don't. No.
Just individual?
No.
And what is the student population trajectory over the next 3 years? Are we gonna have more students, less students, about the same?
So right now, we're at about, like I said, it's about 2,000, a little less than that, it's probably 1,950, and we're projecting as close to stable as possible, but it could go down. Right now, we're a declining enrollment school district, just like pretty much every school district across the state and nation, right? So yes, it will go down a little bit, but one of the things that I will share with you that we've always done is we make staff reductions every year based on our enrollment counts. And so this isn't just like all of a sudden one time we're like, oh man, we have too many staff, so let's cut those. We've been doing that every year. So in the 6 years that I've been the superintendent in Portage, we have at a minimum reduced staffing by 2 people every single year. In some cases, it's been 4 to keep up with our enrollment size.
What's your balance with open enrollment? How many students are going out and how many are coming in?
Yeah, as of right now, we are probably to the negative about 120 kids that are going out versus coming in.
Do you know why they're going out?
So we actually survey people and we find out like, hey, why are you leaving the district? And people will answer us. You know, some people will say, none of your business why we're leaving, right? But most of them would say it's because they work in Madison and it's easier to drop their kids off in Poinette or DeForest. But the interesting thing is we lose a lot of kids in Portage to Poinette. But I talked to the Poinette superintendent, he's like, well, we lose all of our kids to DeForest. And then we talked to somebody, like, there's just a domino effect, right? And so we lose and people gain, and we used to, when open enrollment started, Portage actually used to, we were like 150 to the positive. We were probably one of the better in the state. So they don't really give us a whole lot other than, they usually say it doesn't have anything to do with the school district. They usually say it's work or daycare or, you know, whatever those things. I'm sure there's some that really don't like what happens.
See, a large uptick in homeschooling as well.
Yeah. And virtual. Not a virtual academy is opening up.
Kids get to their senior years and decide to do it in the house because they're going to the army or whatever, you know. seen a lot of that.
I
Good,
did have
couple.
another question too. On your screen where you're talking about like the career and tech base,
Yeah,
do any of the, excuse me, any of the companies actually pay for anything? Say like you have a construction company that want their kids, our kids to enroll in these programs. Are they paying anything? Would that help?
they do, well, they come in and they provide resources to our technical education classes, so they're coming into the school all the time. We have a building trades program, and so like they work with them and they donate in-kind donations and things like that. We're actually working on right now trying to build an ACE Academy, so a building at the high school that's for building trades and tech ed. And really, that's a completely fundraised piece where our local contractors and different people across the state are donating money to help us do that so that it's not a burden on taxpayers.
They need the help, so.
They do, so that's, you're right, so like, help us out and we'll help you out, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry.
What percentile of the teachers being paid compared to other schools where we fit in at?
So our median pay, I think, is 60,000, something like that, which is pretty typical among. The one place where we do excel is that we have done a lot to try and increase our base so that we can attract teachers to come to Portage. And so we pay, starting salary is 48,000, which is about 3,000 more than most of our surrounding school districts, which has helped us get people. The top end, we're very competitive with all the other schools, even like DeForest and Long Keys. But that just means we've had staff who have stayed with us for a really long time.
I see snow plowing and when you looked at, how you're getting him to cut costs. I mean, you've been there a long time. They get pretty comfortable being there for quite a while.
It's one of the things that the current school board is really big proponents of us going back out to RFPs every once in a while just to like keep people honest and do that. We actually just did that last year with our banking. We switched from BMO to a different bank. We've done that periodically with Bussin'. It's something we'll do with that as well. Good question. Mark?
Brandon had a comment.
Well, I just say, I saw you guys wrote a letter, a co-op letter, to different districts, to the governor, the state.
Yep.
How come they're not releasing surplus? Do you know why that is, a $2.5 billion school?
Yeah, if I had the,
help extra, you know.
yeah, I don't, I really wish I had the answer to that. I don't know why. It's
Just
right now it's
sitting in
locked.
Account down there?
No, it really is right now just kind of a clash between the governor and the other side, yeah. Yep, that's really what it is. And it's sad because,
It is sad.
well, when we really asked for two things, right, out of that surplus, not just for schools. Yes, it'd be nice to have some state aid immediately help us with these kind of costs, but they could also offset property taxes as well. So like, those are the two things that I would love to see them use the surplus for. Immediate relief to taxpayers and to schools with state aid. Those two things would be amazing.
So is that who your guys' letter went to,
Pretty-
was the capital?
Yes.
All the Columbia County schools?
Yep.
Thanks.
Well, I was gonna say that letter's a part of many counties that got together, right? And I might not be as polished as Mr. Sween there, but I will tell you that it all has to do with elections coming up. And as long as they can withhold that money, they control the narrative. That's Mike Seafeld's opinion. So we're hoping that, just like you guys, that we can get a predictable budget. It's like we're trying to do stuff with the kids. It's like, how do you plan anything athletically, hire new teachers? Who wants to come to a district when they could be cut every year? You know what I mean? So that's really what the big fight is about for us.
There's a couple questions.
Yeah, I had a few sent to me that and you answered one of them in your presentation. But another one was in regards to like, of course, we're sitting in a school that got closed and yet you still have Lewiston and Endeavor. Has there been any discussion on whether those would be cut at some point?
Yes, and I've been very honest with people. Obviously, this is gonna be a tougher conversation when we go talk to the Lewiston Town Board and the Endeavor Town Board. But realistically, if we have to cut $6 million from our budget very quickly following the April referendum to get ready for the next school year, I don't really see a scenario where either of those rurals remain open, knowing that we're gonna have to cut $5 to $6 million from our budget.
And that's what you're talking if the referendum doesn't pass.
If the referendum does not pass. Now, even if it does pass, the other thing, and I said this before the capital referendum, we have to have some serious conversations about those school districts in the 3 years, even with the pass referendum. Because when we start getting to the point where you have schools that are like 50 kids in it or below, it's really hard to justify multiple staff members in a building like that. And that's where, I don't remember what the numbers of Fort Winnebago was, but Caledonia is the one that sticks in my mind, that they got below 50, and the idea was, well, now we can't have 3 teachers with 50 kids, and so instead of having combo classes of K1 and 2, 3, and 4, 5, they tripled up, and so it was K1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, all in the same classroom, and that just becomes really difficult for the kids, for the teachers, and the families, and so that's kind of where we sit right now with, Endeavor has 52 kids in it right now, and I believe Lewiston's at like 78, and really 18 of the kids that go out to Lewiston are also bused from in town out to Lewiston. So we're looking at enrollment numbers, and those are difficult numbers to grapple with. So yeah, we're gonna have to have difficult conversations about it, and that's just honest and transparent about where we sit. Good question.
And then, could you give us what the current status of the Roosh building is? As a follow-up to this, I've heard that there's been costs to demo the building quite large, but also the cost of operating it and continuing it, keeping it open is large. And also as a part of that, is the Boys and Girls Club the only group using it? What do they pay for the use of it?
Yeah, so a lot of questions there. So honestly, what we're looking at, yes, Roosh does remain open. And it was there when the pool was still there, and then we shut that down 2 years ago. We still use it for the Boys and Girls Club, and police and fire use it for training and all the different things that they do. To demo the building, when we had the facility study done 5 years ago, it was over $1 million just to demo the building. It's probably more than that. There's a lot of asbestos in that building, so which makes it really difficult to do. And so, yes, that would be a huge cost. Operationally, it is about $100,000 a year to keep that building functional. And we've been looking for developers or people that would like to take it off of our hands. The hard part is we don't want to see it become kind of a dilapidated kind of Ram Hotel kind of situation in the downtown Portage. So we want to be selective of that, but we haven't found any takers for it yet. Currently, the Boys and Girls Club does not pay rent on the building because we have an MOU with them. It was part of our strategic plan to try and find affordable daycare options for the community and for our staff. And so that's what the Boys and Girls Club does. But I'll tell you right now, Mark, I'm meeting with the Boys and Girls Club CEO on March 12th, and I'm going to tell them that if they want to continue in Portage, they're going to have to move it onto campus because we are going to shut that building down completely and get that off of our operational roles. That's one of the cuts we're going to make this summer too.
Okay, thank you.
At $100,000 a year, 10 years pays that $1 million to get rid of it.
Does, yes. Yep. Other questions?
You're busing 18 kids out to Lewiston. What's the cost of that? Why are they being bused out?
So that's another piece that we look at. And that was one of the things that when we closed down, I wasn't here when it happened, but when Caledonia was closed and they still wanted to have rural schools, so we had shuttles and buses, and to keep numbers up, we allowed open enrollment from anywhere in the school district. The same thing to Endeavor. There's about 5 or 6 kids from in town going to Endeavor, but yeah, I mean that would be a cost that we would shave from our budget if we did not have. We would lose a couple of bus routes.
Yeah, now, earlier you're trying to say, you might as well tell everybody right outright, if the referendum don't pass, you're gonna close down the Endeavor or the school.
I would say that's a pretty safe bet. Now,
That's what you're trying to say.
yeah,
That's all, everybody needs to know what you're gonna do. Don't beat around the bush and everything.
well, I'm not beating around the bush, but I don't get to make that decision. That's the
Well,
school board's
you
decision.
don't.
That would be my recommendation, I'll be
You're
honest with you.
putting it on, you never said that in your presentation. You're saying that you're gonna have to close something down.
Well, he's not the decision maker.
Well, I know you,
It's the school board.
but you should give the people the choice. Tell the people straight up, okay, we're gonna close
So
something
that,
down.
and that's what I said. I mean, if the referendum doesn't pass,
That's what it
they're
comes
gonna.
down to.
Yeah,
But even if it
and even if it does pass, I want to be clear, it doesn't mean that they're stay open forever, because this is one thing
Yeah,
that
you would still close them down if it does pass.
you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want people to get the wrong
That's in the
impression that,
back-
hey, if we pass it, it stays
that's
open
the whole
forever.
district line already. They wanna close these small districts down.
Yeah.
They already know that, but they can buy all this land in the city of Portage, like the Phillips farm there, and not ever put that on the referendum.
So we didn't actually, that's a different pot of money that was part of a capital improvement fund that we had on the books already. And so purchasing that land allows us, it's an investment in the future too, because that land is it's gonna be worth way more than what we paid for it, especially having the frontage on 51. So that's an investment for the future too. But we also have agreements with the hospital that we have to wait a certain amount of time before we could sell it if we wanted to. But it also allowed us to be able to build and maybe build that ACE Academy that's gonna be for our tech ed on that property. We also are working with our FFA alumni, and they're gonna be planting it with some sunflowers by the road this year. And then they're also gonna do corn on the backside and make a corn maze and do some really cool things for the community with it. So we're not just gonna leave it set there, it's gonna be used for stuff. But I mean, I've heard people say that, well, why don't you sell that? Or why didn't, the same thing with like a building trades. We bought some property out at Rolling Prairie, where the new housing development north of town is. We bought 8 of the smallest lots out there, and we make up that money. It's basically our building trades program does just break even. So we pay off what we paid for that. We sell the house so we can build the next house. So it's not something that really costs the district money. It actually makes a little bit of money for the building trades program.
Well, it's just the idea of closing down these small schools, that ain't the way to go.
Yeah.
I don't think. Which I can see their point too, it's costing them money up there.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to keep them open. I mean, that's our intent is not to close them. But like I said, once you get to a certain level of enrollment, it's really hard to justify the resources for a small amount of students.
I think they get a better education at the smaller school districts than the larger ones. So
I don't disagree with that.
I don't see why they want to close smaller classes.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
I do have a question. At the very beginning, we talked about, the 2 elements that pay for the budget
Yep.
for the year, and half of it is state aid.
Yep.
Do you ever see any red flags with that, that would actually change the balance? Or does that stay pretty solid?
I think if they retied it to inflation, then I wouldn't see as many red flags, because at least then we would know how much money we're getting every year in state aid. The red flag I see is that they can decide on a whim if we're gonna give a bunch of money in state aid this year, or we're gonna give 0 money in state aid. So, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
That's why I've argued, I think tying it back to inflation it may not fix all the problems, but at least it allows us to plan and know on a year-to-year basis how much money we can expect in state.
I think it comes back to being very important on voting both sides.
Yeah.
Right? For not only, the local taxpayers voting, but also voting to keep the state representatives.
Yep. Absolutely.
Alrighty.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, it was very informative. We appreciate you coming.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. Mark's put on camera.
Great.
Can't wait. I don't know if this will work. This remote.
Does it need remote or batteries in it?
I don't know. No, it's actually.
What was his name?
Ask him.
Oh, it's right there. There you go.
What was your name again?
What was your name?
Yeah,
Mike Seafeld.
Mike Seafeld.
Yeah.
There we
I own
go.
a pressure washing company in Portage. I moved out here in 2020 when I came off active duty. I was originally from about Phobia, Wisconsin, but when I was in Afghanistan,
closing that down, my wife decided to move forward. So she called me and I was like, yeah, well, now we live in Florida. I was like, well, do I have a boat? Well, you know, that goes. So, my wife's happy life. So that's what brought me to Florida. Hey, I appreciate you guys. God bless you.
Have a nice
What
Thank you.
makes you feel right? That's all I got to tell you. If you got questions, call me. I'll shoot you straight, so.
Right.
God bless you guys.
Alrighty, back to our meeting, I guess, we're coming to citizen input now. Any comments, questions, anything here?
What was just talking
Well, you
about.
can talk about citizen input, you've got a couple minutes on whatever subject you wanna talk about, I guess.
My only concern is, elderly people with the taxes going up is, pushing them out of their property, that's my main thing.
Yeah, and like you stated here, the taxes aren't supposed to go up because we're transferring one referendum to another referendum, but if that's the way it works, yeah.
If that's.
Well, it took quite a surprise last year on the building referendum.
Oh, yeah.
And so, we're all a little gun shy. Yeah. Any other questions or concerns? How's the dog business doing? Let me ask that, as long as we're under citizen input.
It's gonna be for sale in about a year and 7 months probably. Yeah. Well, it's always for sale for the right price, but I'm not gonna just let it go to just anybody. It's gonna stay a dog kennel and I won't let it go.
Just gotta find the right person.
And that's why I'm putting it out there now, so if people are interested, they can come job shadow me. Do if a 70-year-old woman can do that job, a young person can come in and you have to be dedicated, that's all I gotta say. And it's like milking cows. You gotta be there. You can't just say, I'm feeling sick today, I'm not gonna come let you out of your pen. And, so you can go to the bathroom, So you have to, and it's not that you can't find people that help you, because you can. There's all kinds of volunteers out there.
Have you had many dogs from the town that you've had to take in the last 6 months?
I took 2, because they couldn't take these dogs to the Humane Society, because they had too many dogs from down south, which this irritates me so bad, that these Humane Societies are filling their pens up with dogs from down south, and then there is no place for the dogs for Wisconsin to go when they need a home. 2 dogs that were abandoned, and they are the sweetest dogs. I hate to say it, but if the one dog doesn't go anywhere, it's gonna stay there, because that's how good a dog this is. But it came there fully in heat, no vaccination, so I had to quarantine them off. There was 2 of them. One's a Shih Tzu and one's a Rottweiler, and I've never seen such happy dogs. They are just such sweet, super dogs. So if anybody's interested, one's a Shih Tzu, a 5-year-old, and a Rottweiler. We don't know how old it is, but it'll be fixed in another 3 weeks. It'll be fixed, and they all have their vaccinations, and I don't charge for dogs.
That's something we can put on the website.
I will be putting them on my Facebook page.
We've got the town website, maybe if Mark got a description, we could put that out there that you're a part of our town and that you take care of our dogs, that maybe, that you had something,
I
What else?
actually just talked to Optima. I don't know if you know, that they deal with Google, Yelp, and all them. And that's gonna be my advertising, the Facebook, because I don't want to handle the page.
right,
And I don't let anybody comment on my Facebook page. If they want to comment on their own page, I don't really care.
right.
I've had some one person comment on the county, actually the county page, and they made her take it off. Because what she was saying, she had never been to the place, just ranted and raved, said a bunch of bad stuff on there. But they made her take it down.
Okay,
But I don't care if they have something that they don't like about my place, come and tell me. I have no, I can't change if I don't know what's bothering you.
absolutely.
And I think, that she probably just had a bad day.
Great. Well, if you want to get a hold of Mark with a description of what you got, maybe he could put it on our website and put a little
Yeah.
time out there.
Or if you just send me the link, I can put your link onto ours so that people see it.
Yeah. I will as soon as we're working on, upgrading everything with Optima, and then I'll have them send it to you.
Okay, sounds
But
good.
I'm still gonna do, my Facebook page is still gonna be just a advertising and no comment.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you for doing what you do. We appreciate it.
I have fun, it's entertaining. I'm gonna tell you that anybody that, if you like dogs, it's a good job. The hardest part is putting up with people.
I think we all find that some days. Thank you. Moving on, I guess, move on, the old business, we've been, as most of you probably knew, we got a letter, we've been talking about a new town hall. Tonight it was pretty good in here, that fan wasn't running, we could hear, but our storage facility with what we got leaves a little bit to be desired, and something we've been looking at. I don't know, we haven't made any decisions. We got a property that someone has offered to donate to us if we wanted to go that direction, and I don't know.
Well, we did talk about, having Ken Fish talk a little bit about,
Yeah,
and I see he's here.
oh, okay.
So, did you, have anything you want to add, Ken, to this, town hall discussion?
Raymond asked me to stop by, he and our employee came together, and, he wanted me to stop by and just kind of go over what some of the options would be. I've been a general forever, and I've designed 7 or 8 town halls over the years. And everything from a glorified garage with a couple of bathrooms in it to, a couple $1 million facility. So, if any of that, sounds interesting, I'm happy to help you guys out with, new town hall design if you want. Realistically, with today's prices, you're probably talking a minimum of probably $250,000 to build a new town hall. And kind of the bare minimum for requirements, you're gonna end up with, a large meeting room, a men's and women's bathroom, normally a clerk's office, and then some fire rated storage, because, you don't want all your records smart up if there's a fire. So that's kind of the minimum, and if everything can go up from there. The one we did in the town of West Point, they can have weddings there and all this other stuff. Not that I think that's something you guys, I think they want it, that's something we can put in there, but, that's kind of a lot of budget for, something that not a lot of people would really need.
Okay, yeah, that's
Good info.
good info to where we give us a starting point anyway, and, I don't know, we've been kind of talking with the town of Lewiston a little bit, that maybe doing a shared town hall, and I don't know if any of us are interested in that or not. We haven't kicked it around much. Get it someplace close to the town line, maybe a guy could share, which would, I guess, building would probably have to be a little bigger, but overall, once you build the building, cubic square footage adds some, but it's not like starting over, I wouldn't think, so.
Well, if you did a shared town hall, the meeting space, you're not gonna be meeting there the same day.
Except on April.
Except during-
Sometimes.
Yeah, well, annual meeting, the 3rd Tuesday of April, everybody meets at the same time, but you'd have to have a way of splitting the meeting room or do something like that.
But I mean, there's a lot of things that could be combined, bathrooms and, yeah, I guess the fire rated storage should have to get bigger, probably have a couple of offices in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a gazillion options.
Could I ask what role could you play for the town in that, as far as like, if, I mean, obviously we have to go through a bidding process and all that to be legal with, and everything. But like, as far as like getting plans approved and, you know, all the excavation and all that stuff, is that all the stuff that you could help us with?
We can do as much or as little as you want. As an example, for Town of Shields, Town of Packwaukee, Town of West Point, we coordinated the whole construction. We sent bids out to, I believe we had 17 different contracts for each one, everything from excavation, concrete, framing, siding, roofing, et cetera. And we coordinated the construction from start to finish. We did the state approved plans, got everything taken care of that way. Town of Caledonia, we just did the design and got state approved plans, and then we bid it out to general contractors. So I mean, there's any number of different ways we can help you with it.
Have you ever been involved where we talked a little bit where tried to get some of the local people, contractors or whatever, and I don't know how that works when you're trying to get bids and still use your local talent, is there?
There's a lot of things you can do that way. You can't, you know, when you do something like this, the low bid is the bid that wins.
Yeah.
Unless it's somebody that you know is a problem contractor. But when it's all said and done, the way to get the local people to bid on it is to make sure all the local people have a set of plans.
Right.
And you know, there's other things you can do, like you can use the fact that you're a state or a governmental entity. You can use some, you can purchase like the building materials, for example, and not pay sales tax on them. And you can talk with plumbers and heating guys, and they can buy their stuff with your tax exempt number, and so you don't wind up paying sales tax on furnaces and whatever else. There's also, I don't know if there's anything out there for town hall, but we just picked up a grant for a new fire station up in Norwalk, Wisconsin. We got more than 50% of the building package covered.
And you can write the
Yep,
the grants for the departments?
Actually, Liz Felmy, or actually Liz Shoemake, you guys don't know Jerry Felmy,
Yeah.
is his daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, she's our grant writer.
Okay. Excellent.
Well, they get 50% of the fire department, why don't you get the fire department?
We own a fire truck, why not?
Last meeting, Jane talked about because of volunteer people in the community that help you. Is that an option?
I'm sure we could work something in that way, but it would have to be a trade that would work something in, like, for example, Dan, you could do, you know, let's say there's some steel beams or lintels or what have you on it, you could say, okay, that's gonna be supplied by you, so they don't have to bid that. There's gonna be a difficulty if you have, let's say, for example, you have, somebody that wants to come up off the framing. Well, you know, if I'm a contractor bidding the framing, how do I know if you have any talent or whatever?
What about
Or if you're just
retired
gonna
carpenters?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, well, they would have to carry the insurance then probably.
Right.
And it's harder to coordinate.
Correct.
Yeah, it's very hard to coordinate.
Is there a square footage code for government, size-wise?
No, Town of Shields, their whole building was 24 by 48.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was just a tiny little building, and this was in the mid-90s, but all total package price, state approved plans, the whole works was $63,000. I don't think you can do that.
And of course, you gotta comply with all the handicap and all the codes and all that stuff, which
Yeah.
adds sometimes.
Yeah, but realistically, if you're doing a new building, handicap accessibility is relatively easy to deal with. versus retrofitting an existing building.
Yeah, that Elmer Shield, that was a nice building, I've been in there. Do you have a location for this yet?
You want us to talk about it, Raymond, or no? Raymond has offered us property if we're interested.
We get to come over and pick out the spot.
Right down the road from
Like,
here.
good golf spots.
Right down the road from here, what?
Are you gonna volunteer?
Yeah, right down the road from you.
Yeah.
You just have to put a statue of Raymond in the front.
So we do have property, per se, and we appreciate that. And so, I guess we've got to decide, I guess, this would have to be approved by town residents.
You got a better location, so.
I haven't got a better location at this point. No, I mean,
He doesn't have to clear one.
if, the only thing I would say is if you were gonna try and coordinate with another town, then maybe we'd want to get closer to the town line or something. And there was a little bit of an offer over by Hogan Road to where we'd be closer to Lewiston if that was the case, but I don't know if they share with us here, they're gonna holler, why don't we have it in Lewiston? And if they went over there, we'd holler, why don't we have it in Fort Winnebago? So,
Yeah, you'd be the same money you are right now.
yeah,
Fight.
yeah, and we don't want that. And so I don't know.
Sounds like we
even
need to put a
something we
nanny
wanna
tag here.
pursue, I guess.
Right on the line.
But, and then there again, if we're looking at $300,000 or whatever compared to, we've got money in our accounts that over the last 30 years, I've been kind of penny pinching, and we take money in, and we have accumulated about $400,000 we can spend, I think. And, we would like to have some of that left, because once you get it, you're gonna have light bills and, lawn mowing and snow plowing and things that we haven't had in the past with this building. And so, and there again, you never know when you're gonna have a flood or something, and we need to do something with roads, so I don't want the town to be broke.
Raymond said he would do all the snow plowing.
Maybe he'd let us use his bank account too if we need, has some cash flow issues, but.
Help you with account number, you
We can just run in and out of that account, so,
I don't have an issue mowing the grass and plowing the snow. I can do it anyways.
yeah.
As long as I'm able.
As long as we're able, and that's the way with all of us. And that can change on a daily basis too, so, yeah, I don't know, I guess it's a board discussion here.
Well, yeah, I think at some point in time, we're gonna have to move forward, and we're gonna have to get this information in front of everybody to vote on it. And if we can get a majority vote to move forward, then at that point in time, we move forward.
I mean, there again, annual meeting coming up on the third Tuesday here in April. If we had enough people here and we voted, if you did vote to give the town board the authority to go ahead with it, that doesn't mean we have to. But we can't really do anything without that authority. So, I mean, we can't acquire land, or we can't do anything without the authority of the voters to give that to us. I mean, it gives us the opportunity, but without it, anything we do is kind of a moot point at this point. We're just kind of.
Can you come up with kind of a scenario of what it's gonna cost and what everything is for cost, and then have a presentation like the school board just did?
Well, that would be Mr. Fish.
So everybody knows what to vote on?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would, I guess if we got the go ahead to do something, and I think it'd be easier to put a presentation together because you knew you could do something. I don't know.
Well, how do you get this, go ahead and do something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
we get the go ahead at an annual meeting, like on April 15th, we'll have an annual meeting where
It's got to be voted on.
it's gotta be voted on by the taxpayers.
Somebody can't just say.
No, we gotta do it as an annual meeting, and,
You said if enough people, how much is enough?
if you got 5 people here and 3 people vote to do it and 2 people don't vote to do it, 3's enough. That's the way it works.
Mark, didn't you send out a survey? Was it positive or?
As far as as far as like the number of people, it was just over 50% said they would support building a new town hall. Yeah. So, I mean, I think the idea of the survey wasn't necessarily asking for a vote. It was more like, do we have enough people that think that we should at least pursue it enough to take it? Because it either has to come up at the annual meeting on April 21st or another special meeting that we call of electors just for that purpose. Or we could do it at the November special electors meeting, but it has to happen at a special electors meeting or annual meeting. So that's the only time it can be approved. But we felt like at least with the number of the more than 50% of the people that responded being for it, we felt like that was enough to at least say, well, we probably should do some more research into it.
What was the percentage of the people that responded to the population of the township?
It was low, like you would typically expect. I want to say there was just over 100.
Just over 100, I think.
People that responded.
So what besides the meetings would you be having in the building?
Basically, right now, we have a meeting room, an office, bathrooms, and a storage room. And when you look at, a lot of people say, well, I don't make it for venues. Well, once you start there, now you start costing money. You get state-approved kitchens, and the septic has to be bigger with grease traps, and the well has to be better. And then you got to have somebody there to run the thing. You have to hire somebody putting there to coordinate dates and times and clean it up. And it gets to the point where I don't feel, and I don't think the rest of the board feels, that we want to get ourselves involved in having a venue for weddings or whatever else. I mean, if you got a meeting and a 4-H club wants, or a room, you got a 4-H club wants to come in and meet, maybe okay, fine, or something like that, or a church group or whatever, but to have it where you gotta do a lot of maintenance and kitchens. I've been on a lot of school trips, and I've seen where a group of boys can go in the bathroom and destroy it in 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Well, girls aren't any better now.
that wasn't something,
I'll tell you that.
that wasn't something that I thought at this point we wanted to be involved in.
Can we do what Raymond was saying? Can you put kind of a hypothetical together? I mean.
Well, I think that's what we
Like
need
in a
to do.
bid, some kind of proposal from him.
Yeah.
We have a print already from,
Can you bring that?
what was it, Springfield?
Yeah, I think we can bring it up.
So we actually have
Probably
a
the easiest. We just go to
footprint
the website.
that you could put a preliminary kind of cost together.
I usually brought a couple to give you tonight too.
What's that?
I brought a couple of,
Oh, okay.
floor plans.
Right. So I think it would be easy enough for us to put a presentation together based on a footprint of a building. Say, if we build this building, it's gonna cost roughly X amount. And,
I think
That's
you get
really
more
hard to see, but-
yes,
Getting it.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't disagree.
So that, basically, you can see, this building this is exactly what Town of Springvale is building right now. And they just went through a bidding process. They accepted an all-in contract at $395,000 to build this building. But we kind of feel like we feel like that's a high number, for multiple
Yeah,
reasons.
they only have 100 available.
But this is their meeting space, a vestibule, walk in, 2 restrooms, mechanical room, a voting equipment storage space, and an office. So basically, you got 2 doors to make it legal.
Where's that going up?
Over Town of Springvale, which is over by Cambria,
Yeah.
between Cambria and Rio and that area out there in the country. What's that?
You know what road it's going on?
I could look. I don't know it.
Yeah,
I don't know the roads that well out there.
I do. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you knew that, where-
But at least that gives us a direction, right? That print can be altered if there's something else that we want to add. We talked about fireproof and area.
That one is
You know what I mean?
fireproof, but
This
I said
is
that
a
one is
basic
fireproof.
footprint to get the story out there. And say, you know what, if we go with this, we're gonna be spending about this.
How
And
big is that?
It says on there. Can you read it? Here, I got it. Hold on.
You read it?
That one is 56 by 30.
56 by 30. Yeah,
I just want to say, I don't think that you have enough information to bring this to the annual meeting in April. I'd rather see you work on it for the next 6 months and bring something like solid and more concrete to the November elected meeting.
I don't necessarily disagree with you,
yeah, I think you could kick this can down the road as far as you want to, but I truly believe that there's probably enough information to get a presentation put together to, at some point, create a possibility of having a vote. I mean, go ahead.
Well, let's face it, the further down the road you kick it, the higher the cost will be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Usually.
Everything goes up every day.
but a year from now, it's gonna be more, but to get anything done, I don't like what a timeline would be, even if in April, somebody gave us the approval to go ahead, we're still looking at months before anything could happen.
You're looking at probably 3 to 4 months, because the state approval
Right.
process. is 8
Right.
weeks.
Right.
And then, by then, we're looking at almost fall or winter again, so no matter what happens, we're looking at a year before you get money.
You're probably looking at a spring build,
Right.
not this spring.
No,
Bigger than it needs to be.
no,
Yeah,
that would be
that's-
pretty tight timeline.
Right, so that's why I think that we should move forward and get a presentation put together so everybody can at least see something.
Yeah, I think it's the place, the size, the layout, cost,
Right,
the overall package,
right,
what the proposal would be.
Right, and then the next item is how do I get people notified that, I mean, we sent out a letter asking the question, and I think the postage on that letter is about, well, it was about $1,000 we spent before we got that letter out to the 400 people we sent to. Now, if we want to have a vote in April, how do we notify enough people? I mean, we got quite a group here, but are you a big enough group to decide? Or, you know, it's, how do we not get the word out there, I guess is the question.
I guess personally, I'd like to see, all of us talk about it and say, you know what, in April, I would like to have a presentation, so if you want to see the presentation in April at the annual meeting, then you have to show up. Have it on the website, so everybody knows that we're looking at doing a small presentation on a building build, and come and share your opinions and thoughts. And I think we could put something together by April, the end of April, as far as.
What date is it?
Well, our April meeting is April 6th.
Right.
Of course, the election is on the 7th, but the annual meeting is the third Tuesday, so it's April 21st.
Which is plenty of
Yeah.
time, I can't put something together.
Yeah.
You're not talking.
No, you're talking a floor plan and some elevations, and some cost estimating.
And I know what some towns, like, I know what town of Springfield did, is they basically took like something like this and said, this is kind of what we're thinking, this is what we're kind of planning. And at their meeting of the electors, they just said the resolution that was passed at that meeting that allowed them to go forward was simply, we are approving you to purchase land and build this not in excess of. And they just said, here's your limit. Here's the most you can spend.
It's a good idea.
And that way it's not like, I mean, it's not probably right for you guys to sit out there. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but it's like, who wants to decide who buy this furnace or this furnace, right? I mean, nobody wants to make that decision, but you probably want to say, let's try not to spend more than this amount out of our funds, right?
Well, and I think when you set up the presentation, you ought to pretty much know that if you're gonna build with steel siding and steel roof, and you're not gonna brick the whole building and add thousands of dollars. I mean, that needs to be right up front so that we don't get caught someplace with a project that's not finished because we don't have enough money, so,
Run a value engineering you can put into it.
yeah.
I think if you're going to come in April and do this presentation, you also need to have a realistic operating budget for people to look at and consider as well. So how much is the insurance every year? How much is the electricity gonna cost? You're gonna have to figure that out so that people have an idea of what they're gonna be on the hook for after it's built.
Absolutely. I think we can do that.
Are you asking Kent to do this? I mean, are you willing?
Of course.
Oh.
Is that something you could bring to the April meeting? Like I could put it on the agenda for a presentation on April
I
6th?
can put something together and have it ready.
Okay, in a month.
Yeah. So can you get Ken the footprint that we're looking at?
We've got, there's, the whole building plans are on our, they've sent us.
No, well, I just have a sketch up
Well,
there,
and
but I
it's-
could send them
No,
the
no, I
plan.
say, we've got them on our,
Yeah.
I got them on my,
Yeah.
I think we sent them to you. We got the whole ball of wax in this building, right, from the elevations, the footings and the whole thing.
Right, well, what I can't do is I can't take somebody else's plan.
You can't copy it.
No, but you can look at it.
Well, and I think there's opportunities to make this one fit
Yeah.
even better, right?
I
Like,
mean,
Figure out, cost for electric.
Yeah.
That's only from the line. Look at it.
yeah, I
You're
mean,
just gonna tap into yours.
I mean, when
use Vikings instead.
when you look at a building and the square footage and the insulated value and all that, we should be able to figure out some kind of a heat cost.
Yeah.
Energy costs and things like that, shouldn't we?
Just tap into the solar panels over here.
Yeah.
we could
They don't
get some
produce
extension
enough.
cord.
They don't produce enough.
Yeah, they don't produce enough.
I think Ken's got a good point, though. You should have a fireproof room for all of our records. They don't have.
It is on there, actually. Theirs is also,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is.
Paper records.
Yeah, it's just thicker walls, basically.
Yeah, you can come up with a 2-hour fire room with, studs and drywall, or you can, if you wanna make a 4-hour room, you can put, concrete block on it. I mean, I've done both, but everybody's got different needs and everybody's got, different budgets, so.
But do we have a lot of paper stuff that we use or? is
Oh, we
everything
should,
pretty much-
well, we have years of past history that we have to hold on to, right? That you can't get rid of.
You can't scan them and you've got a digital.
No.
The old, do something, it's very interesting, all the old minutes books, it was all handwritten and, well, I just looked through a bunch of it to find out the history on this building. I mean, there's a lot of history in there
It's
where
crazy.
they made up a road and hired somebody to throw the dirt in the ditches. I mean, it's all valuable material that you can spend years. It's really interesting to see what our ancestors have done. I mean, it's
It was kind of fun to read.
good stuff, but,
Why don't we just that costly to build fireproof room?
no, I don't think that's a big issue once you're building. So you want to make a motion that we would have Mr. Fitz?
Did you just do it?
No,
or-
I'm asking you this time.
He's telling you what to do.
No,
I would like, to-
I'm not, I was asking.
Yes,
yes,
but
I said, would you?
yeah, I'd like to make a motion to move forward and have Ken Fish, come up with some kind of a proposal, for this building, so we can do a presentation on the 6th. And, do I want to add?
I thought it was
The-
the 21st.
Well, we want to do a presentation up front and then we can do it again the 21st. But we want to have, so that
Vote the 21st?
the vote would be on the 21st.
Right. So you do it both.
Oh, all right.
Okay. Okay.
The one that we did for Westport, we came in at about 250.
It's getting more like what we'd like to see.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so, is you what?
Yeah, I made a motion.
Yeah, I didn't know if you quite got done, you were looking.
Well, yeah. No, I think that's enough.
Can we look at energy cost also?
I thought that was part of the proposal.
Okay, good, all
We're
right,
not being specific, it's a what's in the presentation.
all right, I'll second then. Did you get down this?
This is what I have down. Tell me if I'm correct. I said, Demott made a motion for Kent Fish to create a presentation for the board meeting on April 6th and to bring to the annual meeting on April 21st, seconded by Trader.
Yeah, so basically we'll do a pre-presentation, and then at that point in time, people can kind of mull over that information, and then on the 21st, you know, you can come in and make your vote. And, you know, I'm more than happy to sit down with you and over a cup of coffee.
Then I guess we need to decide whether we're gonna do anything as far as contacting the general public about the meeting. Are we gonna try to do a postcard or?
Well, I think for sure it's gonna have to be on the website and posted.
Spread the word, everybody.
I don't
Like,
know
I
if
don't
you-
know how to do it either. It's
You guys
hard.
want- You guys want a postcard?
Me and Tom will go drive around and put them on their
Good.
doors.
You
Gentler with the belt.
know, the UTV and start cruising.
Well, you know, I mean, a postcard's $1,000. You guys want to spend $1,000?
Postcards are a little less.
Or postcard.
No, the postcards are a little bit, we don't have an actual price on postcards because stampage on postcards is less. So, and obviously postcards, you just have the paper, you don't have envelopes and paper and everything too. So
Although
they're
our
less
printing
than,
costs on the paper was a lot less than a postcard, it'd probably be more printing costs.
right.
So it
might-
could be similar. But, yeah, I don't know.
Actually, if anybody cares what goes
I don't know
on
what a
in
stamp
the
is.
township, they should be looking at the monthly email you put out.
Yes.
And know what's going on.
Have you had anybody refuse your email? I mean, not want, you know, where you put
Well,
on there that.
people that get my email are people that ask to get it.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people in residence town that I don't have their email for, right? Because I have about 250 people on my email list, and we have 374 homes. So you can see there's like another 125 homes, let's just say, that aren't getting touched. But that's because I don't have their email, so they didn't get to reject it or accept it because we put it out multiple ways early for a number of years, asking people, do you want to be informed? Give me your email. You know, whether they were at an election site or come to a meeting or whatever they were at, we were asking for emails. And the people that I think got it want it, and so that wanted to get
But
it.
that's always one of the drawbacks of this job, where you always get accused of not being transparent. And so
Well.
it's hard to be
another thing
transparent if nobody cares.
You can put out there too, how much you're saving the township by using the email, if you can get us your email,
Right.
you know, because
Yeah, but-
of how much it costs for your postal.
Put that on the same postcard?
I get something to them and tell them that.
They got paper and ink.
Communication is
Paper
tough.
card and-
Well, if you have the names that you don't have emails for, you know, it's not a text number.
Is
Don't have an email.
I don't have a phone number.
I don't know if this is something you could do or not, but like, anytime you have voting going on, I mean, this would be too late this year. But anytime you have voting going on, because most people probably come here and vote, that you could have something there for them to.
There is a point that we have an election in between.
We have April
Yes,
7th.
April
is our
7th.
election. That's a big election.
That is a good point.
Send out their tax.
That's what we're saying. So there is an election right before the meeting. So that's a good point, that there would be a good spot to try and get it
Yeah,
out,
that they could come to the annual meeting and vote.
right?
But we could also put information out at the election, just saying, here's information on the town
Right.
hall.
Right, and can you, and then a list or something that they can give you your email.
Right.
Which we have had that at most elections.
lot of elections.
I mean, if we could have a handout at the election saying we're gonna have the meeting and.
Some information
with
or a
some
pamphlet or
information,
whatever,
and
yep.
They could come to the meetings. I mean, that's a place we could reach. However.
More than
however many
normal,
people come.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
How many people will be at this election on the 21st?
Well, typically we have about 605 registered voters in our town. This election, it varies because like this isn't a municipal election year, like we're not all up for election this year. but like last year they were, and when we all were, and so there was like over 500 people that showed up to a vote on that spring election. I will tell you that,
Right.
yeah,
I mean, the
Right.
November election will be bigger because of the
Right.
governor's race.
right. But for the normal spring election, I'm guessing we probably won't get more than 200 or 250 people this spring.
But you still might get a few more email addresses.
But we might,
And
yes.
the word
Or
out-
reach out a few more people than normal, right?
Yeah, or at least people would know, right?
Anybody that comes in to pay their taxes or, you know,
That's already-
couldn't you send it out on your tax?
Yeah, well.
That wouldn't be till next year now.
Kind of late on that one now.
That wouldn't be till
Yeah,
December
it's
at this
not for
point,
this
but,
year.
right.
I mean, for next year, so that you can get their emails.
Yeah, oh, for sure. It's-
Oh, that we have.
asked for it multiple
We've
times.
asked for it on the tax paper too. It's been everywhere.
Is we could put a flag out at the north side auto, and when the flag's out, that means you're supposed to pay attention. Everybody drives by.
Oh my God, we
Right.
still have a long ways to go.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to do some debating on this. We can still hit that one on the April meeting. We'd still have time to get something out before the annual meeting, so.
Well, I have a motion.
Yeah.
I need a vote
Oh, and what's the?
on the motion
On the,
that you seconded.
oh, all in favor of the first motion we seconded.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, moving along. I think we got the Portage School referendum done. Columbia County hazmat contract,
Right, so it's just an annual,
but.
Thanks, Kent.
Did I miss something? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You got your contact information here,
I
right?
just wanted to thank him before you
I
left.
can call and pester you once in a while.
so this is the annual hazmat agreement that we paid. It's $202 this year is what we pay us annually. If you want to renew that agreement with the county.
We haven't got much choice.
Who does that go to?
Huh?
Who does that go to?
The hazmat goes to the Portage Fire Department. The state says that every municipality has to have a hazmat team, and we can't have our own. So the city of Portage has a hazmat, and it does Columbia County and a lot of municipalities.
We pay the county.
Yeah, we pay the county, but it doesn't, it goes to the county, goes to the.
I don't know what they do with it. We pay the county.
So I need a motion to do the
I
hazmat.
would be more than happy to make a motion that we continue our hazmat contract.
I will second that motion. All in favor? Aye, opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I'll let you do all the fine work on that then. Moving on. Acra appraisal contract.
So Accurate, and it's nothing you need to act on tonight. But our agreement with them that we started in 2023 ends this year. It was a 3-year contract that we did with Accurate for our appraisal service. They were letting us know like what another ongoing contract would be. Interestingly enough, so in 2023, we did a full eval in the town, and everybody's valuations got adjusted as they felt proper. And that was not by Accurate. That was our assessor before Accurate. But anyway, already, which apparently does happen fast, we are already, as you can see of this, we're already out of compliance. But now instead of doing full revals, they recommended what they call IMUs, which are interim market updates. An interim market update basically says we don't necessarily go out there and visit every home, exterior, interior. We don't do all that because that costs way too much money for a lot of towns and villages to do. We'll just go out there and look and say, all right, to get your town back in guidance with the state valuation levels, we're going to increase, and we look at new properties, and they just do what they call an interim market update to get it leveled off and get it back to 100%. And the way they did it, the way they're quoting this out to us is on a 4-year or a 3-year option. On the 4-year, you can see we continue doing maintenance for 27 and 28 with a market update in 29 and a maintenance year in 30. And then what they do is they tell you it's going to cost you $15,000 a year, or over those 4 years, $60,000. Right now, we're paying $12,000 a year just for maintenance, is what we signed, a $36,000 contract for 3 years.
Right, the last time we did a full reevaluation was 20,000.
25,000 is what
yeah.
it costs us to do a full reval.
Right.
So to do this, it's 15,000 a year for 4 years, or we could do 3 years at 15,600 with a interim market update at 28. But this is the proposal they sent over for your review. You can act on it, or you can wait. It does, obviously, we have till the end of the year. But if you wanted to look and get, other quotes or what you want to do, but this is what they sent me for the board to look at.
Unless we were to go out and look for a complete new assessor, we basically are with that. In the long run, we're better off taking the 4 years, just in case they'd want to raise the price again.
Or you have the option of leaving it just as maintenance, right?
Yeah, no.
For a certain amount of time.
If we don't get back in compliance within 5 years and the state.
Oh, it's
steps in,
5? I thought it was 10. Okay.
State steps in and does they're in charge of this for a complete reevaluation. So we can only be out of compliance for 5 years. And unfortunately, when the house values were increasing so fast, like they did here in the past few years, that threw us out of compliance right away. So, I think I would be on board to continue with, though, when we looked at assessors before, we decided this was one of the better ones to go with, and there is individuals out there that do assessing, but if something happens to him, if he has a heart attack or whatever, then you're stuck with nobody. And so this is actually a company that's got multi personnel that can carry on for you anyway. So I personally, I guess at this point would make a motion to continue with the 4-year contract at $15,000 a year.
I would second that.
Okay, we got a motion, second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
Thank you.
What was that letter that they just sent us, that we had to read?
He was asking you what we're doing with, I got one too, I'm going.
Well, it hasn't changed since forever, so.
That's what I did an email back to him, I said, it's been that way forever, what do you need to know?
What's that?
I said, I sent an email back to him telling him that it's been that way forever, what do you need to know?
Oh.
I mean,
When we purchased our house, we got that letter in the mail saying that somebody would have to come to the house, you had to, on a certain day.
Yeah.
By call.
Yeah.
And the lady literally did it over the phone. The only thing is you gotta be careful if you have, because all they use is,
Baseline.
satellite photo.
yeah,
And I had another building on the property that's no longer there, it was just a dog kennel.
okay,
But it was dilapidated, it was long before I even purchased the property.
yeah.
Then you do the open.
It was an old image.
Yeah.
They don't update them every year.
Then you have to do the open book to prove your case.
Help him take it off. All righty, thank you. Next one is, you were asking me about that letter, Raymond. I think, if you have any questions on it, there's a number on it, give them a call, because the land's the same, otherwise.
Seems like it's a waste of money.
It seems like they're asking you to send that back on your dime. And so I just emailed them and said, no change, and forgot it. I just called them on the phone, and
I got that too.
they must be sending them out there.
And it was asking how much is sold what and.
Yeah, and
That's what you had a call. What you
Yeah.
called me about
I
today.
don't
Was
know.
that for one of
They're
those
doing our
letters too?
assessment. I don't know why they're
Oh,
asking
that was
us
for
these
something else.
questions, I guess. So.
Yeah, they should know that from the previous one.
Right,
And
I
then
think they're looking for changes. And if your land is the same, then it should stay the same.
So we don't have.
Hmm?
I would
It's
call
super
them.
easy.
I'd just call them and tell them everything's the
My
same.
problem was, I
The next item is, we have some property up on the end of Hamilton Street that the Gums,
So if I need
family
something to put
farm
on.
owns. And, what is it, Mark? 5 acres?
5 acre piece.
5 acre piece. The city of Portage is gonna annex that in now. It's basically surrounded by city of Portage. It's up by the Gunderson Estate buildings up there, so.
So do we get anything for that?
We'll get, property tax for 5 years. But there it's, if it's an ag piece of property, the taxes are pretty small on it anyway, so. They're probably gonna put apartments on it or who knows what.
A house.
So if they get the apartments up before the 5 years, we get the higher amount.
No.
We get it based on what the last year's.
What the last year's tax was. Well, I wish we could. I've tried to negotiate that when we,
Honestly, they'll probably split it into 5 parcels and build houses.
I tried to do some boundary
At
agreements
least
with
5.
City of Portage multiple
No,
times, and I
probably be
tried to
10.
get that in there, but that would never
Half
come,
acres.
so. The last
Well,
item,
I need, because I have
Oh.
to send something back to the state on this.
we gotta.
So I need
yeah.
to know if there's any concerns or anything I need to bring up, because
I
the
have
city has to respond and I have to respond.
They
Is there
won't-
any concerns?
No, they won't let you.
We can't say no though, right?
Well,
No.
yeah, you can tell, because the state of, Department of Administration sends out a questionnaire saying from the city has to respond and I have to respond, and on there I can say, whatever I want to say as far as like, we have to put in there how much the taxes were, how many acres, where's the parcel, why are they doing it, what services do they want, why are, what's the purpose of them doing this, right? And then we can say, from the town's perspective, like, we're not in favor of this for these reasons, or we have no concerns,
And we can say we're not in favor, but they're gonna do it anyway, so,
The state is advisory only in these.
Yeah.
in these matters.
Yeah.
So.
they don't give us much latitude on it.
Yeah.
I don't have any comments, questions. We didn't, I don't think we need a motion. We don't have any concerns.
Okay, all right, moving on.
Okay, the last item on there is every year, under Columbia County zoning, you can't have a mobile home unless it's for agriculture use. Well, over on CX, there's a property there that has a mobile home on, it hasn't been lived in for 25, 30 years. But it's basically junk, but we still get this thing every year. And every year I call zoning and say, why don't we take that off of there? And they say, yeah, we'll look into it. But every year we still get that, and we have to approve a non-compliant mobile home sitting there that makes no difference to anybody, so.
So the person who owns it won't move it?
Well, there's so much junk or stuff around it, maybe you can't move it. It's not movable even, you would have to, it's just plain junk. I don't even know if the roof is on it anymore, but it sits there and and there again, I called them and said, why can't we do something with this? And we'll look into it, so.
Where was that in?
It's,
Yeah.
CM, yeah, right
No,
off of, X and
It's off of
CX,
X.
CX.
It's off of
Yeah,
X.
yeah, it's, down in the hole there. Used to be, Jack Mooch's spot,
Oh.
yeah.
You guys want time to know?
Huh?
You want time to know? All you have is 3 minutes.
You said yes.
If even that.
I'll go through this, and so, basically, I'll make a motion that we, approve the non-conforming mobile home. And, it's, Peter Kleiner's property at this point, and, I'll ask for a second, so.
I will second.
Okay, we got a motion, second, all in favor? Aye. The date it was placed there was 1968, so you kind of know what it's like since 1968.
Did you vote?
Yeah, we all said yay.
Okay, thank you.
You're quite welcome. We must be getting down here now to where our Columbia County Supervisor can tell us what's going on.
Well, we got a new clerk, because, 2 months ago, I told you, Sue Hall, is stepping aside from being clerk, so, they hired Lisa Black. I don't know if you guys know her. but she was already in the office, and she's doing a good job. And, there's a couple other things. We honored Steve Burbeck. I don't know if you guys have heard about Steve's, passing. We'll miss him. And then, the executive committee brought to the board last month this piece of property that the county owned right next to the healthcare center, kind of between Grande Cheese and the healthcare center. And it was for low-income housing. And in 1980, the Wisconsin Action Council, I hope I get that right, we gave it to them on the condition we could buy it back for $1 if they ever wanted to let it go. Well, it's kind of not been maintained, and they want to let it go. But it has $200,000 of debt against it. So the proposal was to just let them deal with it. We don't want it. And that's the way I voted, to just let it go. But the majority voted to do a little bit more investigation, see if there's any value in the property. In my perspective, being that it was from the 1960s, not been renovated, it's just kind of been going downhill. I don't see that we need to take on that kind of I don't see us as a government trying to make money off that property, so just let it go. So.
Is there a building on it?
Yes, yeah, there's a building on there. It's for a low income, and there's, I think, 3 people that might live there.
3 families or 3 people?
I think 3 people. That's my understanding. So I could be wrong. But, I don't have the answer for you. I don't know how they managed it. But that was years ago in 1980. So.
Somebody must hold a note on it.
Oh yeah, there's a no. We would have to take that on if we bought the property back for $1. But I don't see that there's any value.
Maybe if you could get 400,000 for reselling it, but that doesn't sound like the case.
Yeah, I mean, for an entrepreneur, they might see some value to do that. I don't see that the government, we don't have the ability to move and make decisions like an entrepreneur could.
Yeah, that's.
So we're just gonna be tied up in months of trying to make decisions, and this is gonna be a waste.
They'll just have to put it up for sale.
That's probably what's gonna happen. But if you guys think that we should, it's getting more, there'll be a presentation. And if you guys think that I should change my position on that, I'm more than willing to listen to that. But right now, that's where I stand.
Cut your losses.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
anyway, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Yep.
I'm gonna head out.
All right, sorry to keep this so long. Moving on to communications.
So, the first item was, last month in February, we wrote a check, that we thought was for a tax overpayment, but then it came back later that it was actually for a different parcel that they had. So we voided that check and applied that payment to that parcel. Just as an FYI, if anybody were ever to ask, going back over, there's a check that we voided and used for a tax payment. Parcels, and that was for those 51. Then there's 50.1 and 51.2 tax payments. Columbia County owns some property over off of Fox River Road, and for whatever reason, the assessor that we had in 2022, which was their last year as our assessor, Gardner Appraisals, they had that property being taxed. And of course, the county owned it, so there should have been no tax on it. But it was taxed, but nobody's paid that bill, of course. So now the county came back and working through the state and everybody, you'll see in the bills to be paid this month, that we have to pay that taxes, and then we get our reimbursements back from them on it. But just as an FYI, when you look at the bills to be paid, you'll see one to Columbia County, and that's for that tax payment on 50.1 parcel and 51.2 for a 2022 tax bill that was never paid. Okay, and that's apparently the process we have to go through on that. Also letting you know that there's 3 new ERN emergency response numbers that were issued. One for Matthew and Jennifer Kiefer at N7967 County Highway EE. One for Anthony and Diane Bortz at W7998 Military Road. And one for Charles and Kelly Benke at W8181 Bornick Road. Those are
Lots of
all
new
the
houses.
communications that I had.
Okay. Then you got the Lisa Black one that he talked about.
Yeah, he talked about Lisa Black.
Yep.
So,
Okay, I guess we'll need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion that we pay the bills.
Okay, I'll second that motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Motion carried. I guess April 6th, we'll be back here again. April 7th, we got an election, so we'll probably set up that night of April 6th. Annual meeting will be the 21st, right here at 6:30. And if you got any questions on your taxes, that won't be until July. There'll be open book on July 21st. From 4 to 6 right here, and then board of review will be in August 10th, 4 to 6 here. If you can't get a problem solved in an open book on your taxes, you're able to come to open book, but make sure you get a hold of Mark, because you got some paperwork you gotta fill out before you can do that, so. That pretty much brings us to the end.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you for coming. Appreciate your input.
Thank you.
If you talk to people in the town and you want to give them information that we're looking at town hall or whatever, we appreciate it.